Number 5.
Yeah, going number 5, and it's another player, Ben, from that unbelievable era. It's Paul Mariner. Paul Mariner. Wow. Well, again, I start laughing about all these players I'd speak about because they're just so good. But Paul Mariner. So again, background to this one.
Plymouth.
Yeah, Plymouth. But the first Robson side that got to challenging for the league, got into UEFA Cup. The first sort of, as I said before, big signing of that side was really David Johnson, who signed from Everton.
Right.
David Johnson the first.
Yep.
David Johnson the first, who signed from Everton in 72, 73 season. And he was, he formed a great partnership with Trevor Wymark up front. Then Johnson leaves, so
where does Johnson go?
Summer 1976, Liverpool, and
Right.
as pretty much stellar. And
was he the super sub, or am I thinking of David Fairclough? Right, okay, yeah.
No. Johnson went to Liverpool, and I think he was in and out of the side. Now we're talking about Mariner. He was in and out of the side to begin with, then established himself, and God knows what I haven't checked that, but God knows what Johnson won at Liverpool, but a lot, as they seem to win everything there.
Was it Phil Neal who was the one who? Yeah.
I think he's won.
Did he win all 4 European Cups?
Not sure about that.
Was there anyone who won all 4? Who's the left?
Alan Kennedy. Alan Kennedy may have done. Yeah. Alan Kennedy, that's a shout. Yeah, may well have done. Yeah. Anyway, may have done. Anyway,
Paul Mariner.
Who was I talking about? Paul Mariner. Paul Mariner. So
you're on David Johnson at the moment.
So yeah, Johnson leaves, and then I think we start the 76, 77. Ultimately, we finished third. I think ultimately that season, which I'll come on to in a minute. We finished third, 76, 77 season, and he signs Paul Mariner in October, or late September, October that year. Really as a replacement for David Johnson, although perhaps slightly different players. Johnson was slighter, not as big, quick, very quick. Mariner, proper big centre forward.
Big transfer fee?
Well, yeah, an exchange about I think 220,000 with players going the other way to Plymouth. 220,000 players. Terry Austin, who was a striker, and John Pedelty, who came through our youth system, played in the Youth Cup winning teams. Went to Plymouth.
What's the sort of transfer record at this? Has Clive Allen gone yet?
No. 76. Blimey. Trevor Francis was.
Dalglish was 400.
Dalglish was 477.
Right.
And Keegan, I think, was about the same when he went to Hamburg. Yeah. And the first £1 million player was Trevor Francis in 79. So it's still.
This is a lot of money.
Still a bit of way to go. Yeah, for Ipswich. I assume it must
for anyone.
It must have been at that stage. So he basically comes in, as I say, as a replacement for Johnson.
Where are Plymouth in the pyramid?
Well, they would have been. So we're looking. Obviously, we're in Division 1. Obviously, Premier Division 1, Division 2. I reckon they're Division 3. Possibly lower part of Division 2. But I think they might have been.
Gamble signing? I
guess so. Yeah. So I think it certainly scored a few goals for Plymouth. And we're in direct competition with West Brom, and I think more closely with West Ham for him.
Right, okay.
So a good sign, and this is a really recurring theme with a lot of these players I've mentioned. Makes his debut against Man United at Old Trafford.
Right.
Bizarre. And another recurring theme is we win 1-0.
Wow.
He doesn't score. However, his first home game, which we covered a few years back, and the Trevor Wymark spot was the 7-0.
That was his first home game?
Yeah, 7-0.
Whack.
The 7-0 West Brom, whereas Ben quite rightly says, we've seen that, where he sort of gets the ball, breaks down in midfield, gets the ball in midfield, sort of beats one, brings it inside and sort of laces one in from about 30 yards, doesn't it?
That's not even the best goal of that game, though, is it?
That's not even in the top 2.
So, immediate sort of... I suppose if you come in on a 7-0 win, you're coming in at a good time,
immediate impact. And I think the next game, I didn't go to this game, I seem to remember, I think this was on Match of the Day, I seem to remember this game was away at Middlesbrough. Scores in that one with a header from a corner, 2-0. There was another game again that which you've spoken about, which is quite apt, which you've spoken about Liverpool and how good they were about that time. I remember a game, again one of his first home games, maybe early December that year, where he scores an unbelievable header and we beat Liverpool 1-0, which I think takes us to the top that season. But yeah, just hung in the air and powered it in.
So tell me about his playing style then, Dave.
Oh mate, yeah, Mariner I think had everything. A good centre forward, big, strong, Good hold-up play.
Do you know why I'm smiling? I'm getting so excited because we asked to compare. I just thought of Drogba when you said that.
Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad chat. Again, you're talking 30
I know.
Drogba more athletic, as players generally are, but... and Mariner could take... And that's, he's playing in an era when, defenders would give you stick, and, mate, he could take it, but he could give it. I've seen Mariner give defenders the elbow, and hard man. Great player, great touch as well. Just a good touch. And again... I suppose it says a lot about Weimark, who had the partnership with Johnson, but struck up a really, really good partnership with Weimark to begin with. And of course, the next season, you come into the next season, which was the cup winning season,
right? And did Mariner have influence on the cup run?
He scored 7 goals in the cup run.
He scored 7 goals.
He didn't. He scored 7 in the cup run.
What's the record for scoring goals?
There's 1 or 2 players I think that have scored in every single round of the cup.
I think
Jeff
Rush.
Rush was a prolific cup scorer. I think Jeff Astle did it for West Brom. And I want to say Osgood might have done, although Osgood might have done. But one of those was, of course, that he scored in the replay. I don't think he scored at Wembley. Anyway, didn't score in the semi-final, final, but that included a hat-trick at the infamous Millwall away game.
He got the hat-trick.
Yeah, which we already touched on, the George Burley blast and the, what's your favourite goal? The John Walk volley, isn't it?
Oh, don't. But Walk still hasn't been in yet, so I'm totally excited.
This is my favourite players. He might not be one of my favourite players, Ben. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We'll be looking for a new podcast partner. Then.
So he scored. So and again in that cup final season, 20 league and cup goals in 53 games. 22 goals again in the next season, 79-80 when we finished third again, including his best league total, 17 that season in the league. You look preoccupied.
I'm sorry. Most goals by a player in a single FA Cup season, 19 in 1887 by Jimmy Ross.
I should have remembered that one. What about the modern era?
I can't really see it. Come on, Wikipedia, sort yourself out.
Okay, do you want me to? Shall I carry on with this?
Yeah, you carry on. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
So 22 goals in 79-80, including his best league total of 17, and then 80-81, he scored 26 goals in our UEFA Cup winning campaign, although he did play, jokingly, 58 games.
But still...
It's a great total.
Still.
Yeah. Russell Osman was the only player to play all the league games that year.
How many?
66. Sorry, league. All the games, league, UEFA Cup, FA Cup. 66 games.
What day of the week were the UEFA Cup games? Were they Thursdays?
No, Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Right.
Put that into context, and again, you sort of bang on about this over the years. Villa won the league, weren't in Europe that year.
14 players.
14 players. However, got knocked out first round of the League Cup. We knocked them out third round. I think they played 44 games. That's the sort of difference here.
Wow.
But anyway, there you go. So what a player. And again, he was part of that, when the team evolved and the team changed, he was the sort of the focal point of that front three of Brazil, Mariner and Gates. He would play down the middle. Brazil would play off him left, dynamite left foot, and Eric Gates would play in that little, what we would call, I suppose, number 10 position, that little position in the hole behind him. So fabulous player.
Interestingly, Dave, I was doing some research after listening to one of your top 10s. There's on YouTube, there's something called the first 30 minutes or something, where it actually follows Ipswich around, like in the dressing room, the year after the UEFA Cup win, which would be 81.
Do you know what? I haven't seen that.
There's lots of Bobby Robson footage in there.
I think I've seen bits of it. Is it lots of Bobby Robson? Is it like team? You probably recognise. It's not team talking in the Belstead Brook or something like that. There's a lot of team talking. I've seen a bit of that.
There's a lot of. I mean,
what's it called? First 30 minutes.
Something like that. Yeah, I'll look out for that on YouTube. So I'm just googling now. Jeff Astle, Peter Osgood scored in every round. And
good knowledge.
The ahead of this article, John Stead last year up until Bradford got knocked out, scored every round. There we go.
So anyway, Town regular, and he left when the team started to break up in '84. He left under a little bit of a cloud, I think.
Why so?
Him and Walkie reportedly put in transfer requests for an extortionate sum of, they wanted to earn £1,000 a week.
Right.
Which doesn't sound much these days, but for professional footballers anyway. And a bit of a thing. His last Town game was the game against Coventry when Dazelle came on to score when he was still at Chantry School.
One door closes,
there you
another
go.
door opens.
So 1984. And again, under contract, running down, things like that. He left for Arsenal for £150,000. £100,000, which is, again, doesn't seem too much.
Which is half of what he signed for, yeah?
Amazing.
So when does he join Arsenal?
He joins Arsenal in 1984, goes on to play, still playing, we'll get on to his England career in a minute, went on to play for Arsenal for, must be 3 or 4 seasons, I guess, 70 games, 17 goals with Arsenal. Then he went on, I remember him playing for Portsmouth down here when Portsmouth got up the first time, like mid-80s. I'm sure he played in that team because he played, and I think Kevin O'Callaghan as well playing for him as well at the time. And then, England, I mean, this is how much of an impact he had at Ipswich. So he comes from Plymouth, who we think are either lower Division 2 or fairly high up in Division 3. And within 5 months, he's playing for England.
Crazy.
Incredible, isn't it? 5 months playing for England.
You playing any World Cups?
Yeah, go on to that. So his England career, from 77 through to 85, 35 caps, 13 goals, ever present in the 1982 World Cup.
Really?
Because obviously we didn't qualify for 78. And I think Robson, 86, he was being touted as even, I think he must have been still back end of his Arsenal career at 86.
That was Beardsley and Lineker.
Yeah, it was, but I think he may have been in the original. I used to pick a squad of about 40, didn't they, originally, and trim them down to the last 22 or whatever. I think he may have even been in the original squad, but obviously Robson, he didn't go. Perhaps Robson obviously felt he was past his best. And I remember him scoring England goals, notable England goal. I remember him scoring, looked like we weren't going to qualify for the 82 World Cup, which would have been the third in a row, for Christ's sake. We wouldn't have qualified for. We'd been beaten by Norway and Switzerland. I think that's the one I think it was the Norwegian, could have been the Swiss commentator. Boy, Maggie Thatcher, your
Norway.
boys. Norway, wasn't it? That was that game.
Your boys took a
hell of a beating, yeah.
Bloody owl.
Oh, yeah. And then he lost it. What was I going to? Yeah, so he played ever-present 82 World Cup, but scored the goal that effectively got us there. Was a home game. We looked virtually down and out, and some ridiculous results conspired. So we still went through. We needed to beat Hungary at Wembley in 81, and he scores the goal that gets us to the World Cup. I think he had a run of goals for England. This might be worth wigging. He had a run of about 6 or 7 games where he scored consecutively.
Really?
Yeah. I think leading in that World Cup, because he scored in the very first game, the France game. The Butcher flick on and the 13-second Robson goal. He scored in that game. Don't think he scored in the next game, which I think.
So what am I looking up? England records, right? WayneRooney.com for every England record.
Start me on that, please.
Anyway.
That's a great. We shouldn't knock him. That's a great achievement. He's going to score. He's going to set a record that probably ain't ever going to be beaten, is it?
Unlikely.
No. Anyway, so he leaves Arsenal, say Portsmouth. Then he goes on to management. He manages New England Revolution over in the States.
Is this in the Nazzle days?
I think it perhaps was. So that would have been early 90s, I guess, something like that.
No. I was thinking of I
wouldn't. No, of course it wouldn't. No. It would have been. I guess it would have been early mid-90s, and then of course even later than that. He must have been over there quite a while. So I think originally he was coaching, coaching and managing over there. Then he had a spell at Plymouth, and I remember coming here.
They won,
and they won.
They won, and they were terrible as well. And
we were
beat
just
us.
shocking.
Yeah.
And I think also coached at Toronto.
So he's been presumably retired in the States then, yeah?
I guess he has now, yeah. I mean, I think I said Toronto going back to 2013.
Still wears the mullet, doesn't he?
Loves the mullet.
Yeah, great.
Loves the mullet.
Great haircut.
But, what a fantastic player. Good servant to England. I mean, shows, ever present
Best
at the World
days
Cup.
at Ipswich, though, yeah?
Oh, fantastic player. Just one of the most complete all-round centre-forwards. And Drogba is not a bad shout. A more athletic Marino Drogba. That's a pretty good shout, actually.
Yeah.
Just great player, and a worthy addition, I think, to the top 10.
If Berahino's worth 25 million?
Well, we're going to do this.
We're going to do this
at the end. But
the entire Ipswich squad is worth £1 billion.
I think it could be more than that.
Yeah.
I think it could be heading up to comfortably the 500 million mark. But you just wait till I get onto the next players. But great player, and like I said, a worthy addition, I think, hopefully to my top 10.
So Paul Mariner
in at number 5.
And again, as I say every time, looking forward to